Hi, my name is Nick Cosgrove, and I'm here with my long-term and one of my oldest friends, actually, really oldest
Really?
friends, John Durden.
Wow.
Yeah,
Really?
very
Whoa.
old. John, how are you doing today?
I'm only 23. I'm doing good. Greetings from Mississauga, Ontario.
Well, and that's right. You are in Toronto right now, right? What?
Yeah.
But you actually live in Vancouver.
Yeah. Yeah.
What made you decide to stay in Toronto instead of coming back to Vancouver during the COVID-19 crisis?
Out here on family business and stuff, and then it wasn't going to conclude until later, and I didn't anticipate it being this lockdown type thing. I
Right.
think I could probably still fly back home, but the stuff is family stuff isn't done here, so I'm just gonna stay, and my brother has an extra room, so it's not a big deal.
Well, and you're in Canada too, right? So it's not like you had to
Yeah.
fly back immediately. What's it like over in Toronto right now?
From I'm in Mississauga, so
Right.
it's a suburb, so it's about a 35-minute drive outside.
Okay.
Toronto, from what my friends have said, is pretty much a ghost town because what's been interesting is that, like you have maybe in the West End, you've got a high concentration of people in apartments and condos, but you don't have as many, let's say, grocery stores or essential services. So they were probably experiencing a little more empty shelf syndrome than, let's say, out here in the burbs.
Right, right. Yeah, I mean downtown Vancouver, we pretty much they boarded up all the stores now, except for of course the essential services like the grocery stores. They're still open. But I
Yeah.
mean, I am down here in downtown Vancouver, so Robson Street, for example, all the stores are boarded up now. Um,
Really?
yeah,
Well, you can't do takeout out of a Subway or anything?
you can, but like all the clothing stores, all the
Wow.
gyms, and I think
Yeah.
that's just to deter burglars from our criminals from breaking into the actual facilities.
Oh,
But
you mean they're physically boarded up?
that's right, yeah, with plywood.
Oh,
So
that must look weird.
well, it's probably the same actually. I mean, I know you're in the suburbs, but it's probably the same in downtown Toronto right now. Um,
I've not heard from anyone saying that, or there's not been any, like the last guy who posted on Facebook just said he went out to get stuff, I guess at Shoppers or whatever, and said it was just dead. King Street, he's at Liberty Village, which has a huge population density,
right.
and he just said it was dead.
Wow. We
Yeah.
kind of jumped the gun here because I didn't get a chance for you to explain who
I know.
exactly you are. See, it's the thing. We know each other for so long, we just start talking right away. I know who
I
you are,
know.
but tell everyone who you are.
So my name is John. I'm 59. I live in Vancouver. Nick and I have known each other since he was my boss back in the day at the ripe age of 15. And I was 43.
Yeah. You were
And that was only,
43. I thought you were 63.
I think I was 40. No, that's now. No, no, I was 44, I think, when I got a job there. Yeah.
Yeah. And we were working at a Greek restaurant called Steffo's, which is a pretty popular restaurant downtown Vancouver. Um,
Correct.
did you just have moved to Vancouver at that point? Moved back
I
to
just
Vancouver?
moved to Vancouver in September of the previous year, and then I couldn't find work, and then I just lucked out at getting a job there, and then it was pretty much 12 years later.
Yeah, I mean, you and I go back a good probably 20 years. Um,
Yeah, I think
yeah,
so.
yeah, easily. But you've been a server for most of your life, correct?
Hmm.
Yeah,
Correct, since I was 23.
right.
Well, and even then, my first job, I was 14 in West Van at Frank Baker's attic.
Yeah,
I don't, you would never, probably wouldn't know that.
no,
And I was 14 when I had my first job. So I've been in the restaurants for, God, 45 years. Gross.
well,
45, yeah.
it's funny. One of the reasons actually I wanted to have you on was one of the things I want to talk about with you was work ethic. First of all, is that ever since I've known you, you've always been a hard worker. Like you said, you've had a job since you were 14, and you've done quite well for yourself. And you put yourself in a position now where you are financially stable to kind of have that lifestyle. And I know you think 59 is old, but it's really not that old. A lot of people are 59 still have another 10, 15 years left to work in them.
Oh, I joke about it. No, I don't. My age, like I don't even think about age quite. I remember one time someone asked me and I forgot. I couldn't remember. Like,
Mhm.
it's not a big thing to me. It's only become sort of a thing, I guess, when I entered my 50s. early 50s where I started realizing that it was I became that other generation. I sort of hopped that fence and became oh, they do it that way, aren't they? Geez, they're stupid. Fuck, all this stuff. And it's then I remember I was at Steffo's, so I physically, mentally remember I was at the terminal and someone was doing something stupid. And I thought, Jesus Christ, how stupid are? And I thought, oh, I've turned into them.
Wow.
I've turned into the parent.
I wouldn't say that. I mean, being a server is quite a physical job. Have you noticed, I mean, and you've done it from the time you were in your early 20s to your late 50s, have you noticed yourself with, as you continue to go, that you're slowing down, or do you still have enough energy for this job?
Oh no, I'm super fast.
Yeah.
And you know what's funny, Nick, is the reason I got into fitness was not because of vanity. I mean, there's a bit of vanity there, but mostly because at the time when I actually dabbled into fitness, I was carrying the big oval trays,
Right.
and I thought, okay, Mary, you're obviously going to be doing this for a career. You better stay fit for the rest of your life, or you're going to be done by 35.
Right, right. So
So
when
that was my motivation.
well, when was the first time you started working out with weights? How old were you?
Probably late 20s. I don't think it was I joined Gold's Gym and I was going to try, and that lasted a month. It was standard, join something, try it out, don't get any results because it's only been 2 weeks since I started. And
Right,
then,
right, right.
you get frustrated, and we've had this discussion before, whereas I would say more, I joke that you're type A, but you're very focused on what you do. Me, I'm sort of more, oh, squirrel, like, let's go this way or do that. Now with my fitness, since I've started stepping up my game, which is a progression, I'm pretty like here, I'm at my brother's. I do 2 sets of 12 flights of stairs every day. I do my push-ups every day. I just started doing triceps because I found my sister-in-law's weight. So I'm trying to add stuff and keep fit, right? And I know as I'm older, it's super important.
Sure. Well, let's go back a second. So you started working on your early 20s, and that would have been early 80s, would you say?
Yeah, I think so.
What
Yeah.
were the gyms like back then? I mean, were they as busy as they are now? Or, I mean, was it more men versus women, or was it equal, would you say?
I don't think it was as concentrated on, because I think the motivation to be there was different than it is today. I think today, dare I say, the millennials or the kids are it's more aesthetic. It's
Mhm.
like it's especially for men, the change for men of having to keep up and having to have this sort of look,
Sure.
that physical look, the vanity,
Yeah.
as opposed to back then. I think it was more of a select group who were doing it, and again, they might have been working out to go into shows. Or I didn't join gyms that early.
Right.
I didn't join a gym till probably my late 30s.
Okay.
And remember, I was telling you, I found that picture I was telling you about. I didn't have to.
Right.
What am I? Am I an
You're a
ectomorph?
true ectomorph. An ectomorph is someone who has a very fast metabolism, and that is the definition of John.
Yeah.
You're lean. You don't put on weight. You can pretty much get away with eating anything you like. Although I bet you find now as you get older that gets a little bit more challenging to do.
Well, since I've been here, did I tell you that across the street at the plaza, there's a Baskin and Robbins and it's open? So I've
That's still open.
got.
That's an essential service.
It is. I was telling my friend down, I was texting her and I said, she says, you still haven't opened? I said, of course, it's an essential service. I've gone through 5 pails of, they have this new flavor. It's macchiato express or something. It's really good. And I've gone through 5 pails. My brother bought one. He's still got a third of his left. So,
Wow.
but I mean,
So it's
and bread. Cobb's is still open too.
so it's not just the camera that's added on the 10 pounds then, right? I see.
No, it's not. No,
No.
it's
But
this is a
now,
wool sweater.
yeah, here's an interesting. So you and I, we have known each other for 20 years, but we actually only started working together with me training you on the floor probably about 7, 8 years ago. Correct?
Well, I remember I was watching Trevor's interview and he said,
Yeah.
"Oh, I think it was 5 or 7 years ago." And I thought that can't be true. That would mean we've been together at least 10, because I'd been with you for a few years before Trevor went on.
Yeah. I mean, what made you decide to, when you and I started working together, did you notice any difference in the way that you and I train versus the way that you used to train on your own?
Oh, totally. It was more focused, more efficient use of time. Uh, totally, I could see a total change. I mean, I had a an okay body, let's say, right? It was slim, it was flexible, blah blah blah. But to to go on with you and to be focused like you're focused every day. For me, I had to focus that hour, and we don't waste time. We do all our stuff and get it done. And I could see after, I'd say, once you move to the gym in the basement, it was I could see the change, even if it only lasted like the 5 minutes of the blood pumping up. But I thought, wow, I
Yeah.
never thought I'd look like that.
Do you think the younger generation now trains as hard as the older generation? First off, in the gym, do you think, let me reword that question. So let's talk about millennials, for example. You, you've mentioned one of your main goals for training right now is no longer the vanity and the aesthetics. It's more for the health and the fitness. Yes, vanity is
It
important.
was never for the vanity. The
Never?
vanity was a no, no, seriously. It was I would say out of 100%, the vanity would be 15 to 25, let's say,
Okay.
to be
Okay.
fair.
Yeah.
It was more, I wanted to stay fit. I knew if I started this, and I'm an Aquarian, so we look long term. So I know if I started this, I would do it, and I will do it for the rest of my life.
Okay.
But with that in mind, your focus is kind of different. Like if I'm going to be gone, out of the gym, I won't see you for months, but I'll try and keep it up. But if
Right.
I lose muscle mass or if I have some ice cream, I don't give a shit. It's like I'll snap back.
So, I mean,
What was
now
the
you're,
question?
so my question is, you're training in gyms now with younger people, people in their 20s, people in their 30s, the true definition of a millennial. And what do you notice now with the way they train? And do you think that their goal is purely for vanity? I mean, obviously you don't know what everyone's goal is for being in the gym, but what do you see now with the younger generation versus the older generation when it comes to training in the gym?
Well, I'm at Anytime Fitness, so we have quite a demographic spread.
Hmm.
I'd say I wouldn't say that like the millennials, um, the youngins. I've watched some of those guys, and they train hard, and they like. I'm I'm impressed with the way that they can just do that, and they know those are the hardcore ones. Then there's the
Sure.
ones that come in and they're on their phones and they're sort of doing it, and you think, I don't know if they're going to last.
Yeah.
And you know, all over the place. I don't know. I'm always impressed. Or sometimes you look and I'll see someone training and I'll think, oh, I don't think Nick would be impressed with him because he's not doing the form right, or what you've learned that way. I don't know. I guess it's all over the map, really.
Yeah.
What was the
You know,
question?
well, you know what's funny about that is a lot of times I'm training clients, and I mean, you've been to my gym, and there's always going to be, and there's other members training, or there's trainers training their clients, and you've even seen some pretty nasty bad form going on. And I get clients all the time saying, "Why don't you go correct that?" And I say, "Well, hey, they're not my clients." So I said, it's not my job to go over and offer unsolicited advice. And it's very, at first, when I first became a trainer, it was very hard for me to bite my tongue and say, no, you're doing it wrong. But at the end of the day, now I've learned over the years, if someone's not asking for my opinion, I'm not going to give it. And if someone wants to injure themselves and put themselves in danger, that's up to them. I've always believed in, if I don't know how to do something, learn how to do it correctly, whether that means hiring a professional for any service, just to learn how to do something correctly. I don't want to put my body in harm's way. I don't want to be injured. So that's the one thing I try to teach all my clients is form comes before weight. We check the ego at the door. Would you agree?
Uh, yeah, I think so, and that's a whole different conversation. I think when I watch people in the gym, I can tell who knows what they're doing and who doesn't. I can tell who's been there a while and who hasn't. Um, that's how I sort of determine it. The age can vary differently. You can have some people who are my age or older who are really into it or haven't a clue what they're doing. They might have got a pass as a Christmas present or something and they're trying it. But it's the form that that's probably what I've learned the most about, I'm always asking you, how's my form? And it's about watching these people when I'm on my break, and seeing their form and thinking, oh, I the same thing. I thought, oh, should I go over there and tell them that they just did it this way? And I'm thinking, no, it's none of your business.
Right.
Do another set.
Yeah.
Shut the fuck up.
Yeah. Well, I want to take us out of the gym for a second and bring you into the workforce. You've worked in restaurants now for, like you said, over 25 years, longer, I think.
45.
45 years. Okay. So you've worked with different generations. And
Yeah.
I don't want to turn this into a millennial bashing or anything like that. But I am a millennial. So I want to hear your opinion.
How old are you?
I'm never going to tell my age. That's a secret. But whatever, let's backtrack again. Focus.
Okay.
Focus,
Okay.
Sean.
Okay.
I want your opinion from someone who's worked with different generations and your honest opinion. Do you think that my generation works as hard as your generation?
I would say you could pick it out. Like, you would be an unusual type of example.
Okay.
Then I work with the other opposite, where there's people who, like, for example, I was talking with a colleague at work, the restaurant I work in, the hotel shut down. What are some of these kids going to do? Because they would, make a ton of money, pick it up, and then go blow it, not thinking that, it would ever change. And we'd go through something like this. So I'd say, generally speaking, I would have to say that the work ethic is poor.
Okay. No, that's good. That's an honest answer.
Yeah, with exceptions here and there.
Sure. Yeah. No, there's exceptions to every rule, and we're not bashing millennials here. I just want your opinion.
Just a little.
Sure. Yeah. And what do you think is the cause of that? Why do you think the work ethic is so poor?
I watched a tape on Facebook, something, and this doctor started talking about millennials. It was quite interesting because I think it's due to, quite frankly, bad parenting. Or lazy parenting, or whatever, what you call it. I've ranted about going to a coffee shop and these little fuckers are running around and their parents are having their lattes, and I'm like, take the bastard outside, take him to a park where he wants to be.
Sure.
You wanted the child, deal with it. Right. But it's also, then this guy, the doctor, was saying also, you're telling your kid just came in 19th out of 19 and he gets a prize and all this, and but what he did say, what was interesting, it wasn't his fault, the kid's fault.
No,
it's not their fault. This is how they've been trained, right?
Yeah, that's right.
So I can't remember the question.
Why do you think millennials, their work ethic is not as strong?
I think because they give everything so easily.
Okay.
Like, my brother and I, funny enough, this morning we're looking at pictures of our childhood in Halifax in the 60s and the 50s and 60s. And I said to my brother, I said, oh, look at how much, there's nothing in the background. There's a chair. Yeah. We didn't have a lot of stuff. And if I wanted a car, I asked, if I went to ask my dad to get me a car, this would be I'd be 16, I guess 1970 something. He'd laugh me out of the room.
Sure.
Are you kidding me? Let's go get a job. And that's what I did. 14, I got a job because I wanted a car. Yeah. And then I guess 17, I paid for it cash. I want that one. Boom. And it was one of the happiest days of my life because I had worked so hard for it, and had it. And I was pretty proud of myself to do that. So I think if I'm going to give my kid everything, I have another friend of mine, he's big in the finance world, and his kid gets everything, top of the line. Sure. And fine, and I say to him, I said, you're spoiling him. He needs to work for some things.
I agree.
But single dad syndrome, I feel guilty, blah blah blah. So, and easier said than done.
Sure.
But did you get everything you wanted?
Absolutely not. No, I'm very fortunate. My parents raised me to be a hard worker. My brother's the same way. We were working at 7 years old, and I'm not kidding you. I remember delivering papers with my brother at 5, 6, 7 years old. And my parents, I appreciate the way that they raised me for that, because they wanted to teach us how to be independent and not how to rely on them and not go to them for money when we need it. It's like, no, go make your own money, like you said. Stand on your own 2 feet. And I think today, I was talking to one of my clients yesterday, and she was telling me that a few months ago, her son was at a soccer game, and she's asked what the score was, and the parents looked at her and were like, "Oh, we don't know. We don't keep score." She's like, "Well, what do you mean you don't keep score? How do you know who's winning?" And then one of the parents said, "Well, no, everybody wins."
Oh, that fuck.
Well, and then the
That
problem with that is, the problem with that is, is that's not the way real life works. You lose. I mean, look what's going on right now in the world. Like, there's going to be some businesses that are going to falter in this recession, and you're going to lose. And so it's going to be a wake up call for a lot of people who haven't worked through a recession, or have never experienced anything like this. So I think COVID-19, as bad as this is right now, it's going to be a good wake up call for a lot of people.
well, it's certainly going to be, yeah, absolutely a cleansing.
Sure.
You can say nature's culling, or you could say socializing, and it is definitely going to change people, and how to deal with your anxiety about being alone, and oh, I guess we're going to make that puzzle again. But at the same time, it's almost like it's bringing it back to the 60s
Right.
and the 70s, where we're all at home and we're going to hang out and have dinner like a family. And anyways, I digress. What was the question?
No, it's funny you say that, because ever since I started doing these Zoom talks, every single person I've asked, "Hey, would you come on?" Every single person has said yes so far. And I've actually really enjoyed the talking. I'm so used to emailing people and texting and, DMing people. For John that doesn't know what that means, it means direct messaging on Instagram.
Oh, I always wondered what that meant.
Yeah. John doesn't have an Instagram account.
I would never have
No, and I appreciate that. I mean, it's good just to talk to somebody, right? And for me, this has actually been very therapeutic, just talking with somebody. I mean, you and I, we've talked for years, so for us, it's easy. But for a lot of people, having a conversation like this is actually very challenging. They get anxiety. They don't know how to do it. I think it's because of all the social media now. And, what's this text? What's this tweet? What's this hashtag and all this stuff? So platforms like Zoom allow us to actually have that one-on-one conversation and just talk.
Well, I was kind of, the only anxiety I was having was like, I downloaded the Zoom app. I thought, how am I going to get this on? I don't know. And I texted Trevor, what do I have to do?
Yeah.
But it was easy.
Yeah, it's easy. And you know what? That's normal. It can be challenging, especially if you're not someone who really, I mean, John, you don't even have, for those of you that don't know, John doesn't have internet in his house, right?
Or cable.
No, or cable. And, I actually kind of respect that. Like,
well, quite frankly, Nick, if I had been home during this, I'd be going apeshit, because I'd have to go to a neighbor's and put on a gas mask and watch TV from afar, because luckily my brother, we watch a lot of movies, quite frankly, and it's nice, but it has its place.
I was going to ask you about that. You're not working right now because you're back in Ontario right now. So how is it? I don't have to ask you how it's affected your work life, but as far as a personal life, how has COVID-19 affected you?
Me personally, it hasn't really affected me at all, because you know me, you could put me on a bench on the seawall and I could stare out of there for hours, watch people, and be in my mind, and I don't have an issue with it. Find something to do. The problem I'm having here is, because I'm a guest, I can't just say to my sister-in-law, I'm bored, I'm going to rearrange your closet or do this or do that, So I've got the New York Times on Sunday. I'm reading a section a day. I've got a library downstairs with lots of books. We watch movies. We're getting a puzzle. We're going to set up a puzzle table. I'm okay. I'll call a friend to talk. Like the last friend of mine I called, we talked for 3 hours. So I'm not bothered by it. We go outside. If it's went to the store today and grabbed some shit, because my brother and I are going to make a casserole for my sister-in-law, because she has to work at the liquor store.
Yeah.
And
that is an essential service right now.
Well, it is, but what's funny is all the grocery stores have put up these plastic barriers.
Yeah.
Shoppers have put it up. Do you think the liquor store has? No.
Oh, they haven't?
No.
Oh, wow. That's interesting.
Yeah.
What do you think right now? How do you think, to go back to the millennials? I have to ask you. So I've had a lot of people actually emailing me lately, and I mentioned this the other day, when it comes to their fitness levels. And I've had quite a few people saying, hey, look, I don't have a gym to go to right now, so I'm just going to take a few months off from training. I'm even going to give myself a break on the diet. And then when this all settles down, I'll be back full blast. Now, I know for a fact, you and I talked about this earlier, you've actually been training right now. You've actually been
Um,
working out, not with weights, but tell people what you've been doing.
well, well, I was at my cousin's in Quebec last October, and she's 30, and she says, "Oh, I everyone knows I go to a trainer and I go to the gym." She's saying, "Well, I decided to do push-ups every day just to sort of keep fit." And I thought, "Oh, that's a great idea." So I started doing push-ups every day, and every day since October, let's say mid-October, I've done push-ups. And so that's been just a, I don't know, endurance or whatever, but I still would go with you once a week. I'd still go to the gym twice, 3 times a week.
Yeah,
But that was sort of, so when I got here, I still continued doing my push-ups.
right.
And then I don't know how I got onto the stairs. I don't know who I was talking about. I thought that's a good idea because that'll be quote leg day.
Sure.
And and I'm and it's 12 flights.
Yeah.
So proper flights. So I'm up to twice. I did actually 2 days ago, 3 sets. And then I got my brother into it, which is kind of fun.
Awesome.
He's a big jock, so he's in pretty good shape. But
Right.
so the two of us say, okay, let's go do our thing. And I listen to Trevor's talk, and it's the same. You have to. I'm not motivated like you guys. I mean, if I can get a pint of ice cream and skip leg day,
You'll do
that's a
it.
good day.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but because I have times like when I'm doing my push-ups, I've gone to bed and it's like 2 in the morning, and I go, "You haven't done your push-ups, John. Get your ass out there." And I, do 30 and then go to bed. So I forgot the question.
I was saying how you're upkeeping your. John has a very short attention span. He's actually very
Oh,
intelligent,
sport.
just a short attention span. Um, but no, I was wanting you just to tell people how you were keeping up your fitness levels because I know you have been doing something. I know you've been keeping active, and
Yeah,
I
you find stuff that's going to set, do my push-ups in my room here.
yeah,
I do the stairs with Al twice a day. I've started doing the tricep stuff and the bend over tricep. I
yeah,
use 10-pound weights. That's all my sister-in-law has. I'm going to now start doing get working in the shoulders, and every week I'll just add something and try. I mean, I'm still aching. I'm 100. I weighed myself yesterday. I was 194.
okay,
I nearly screamed, but then my brother said, "Well, I weighed myself this morning. I was 190." So,
yeah. You and I've talked about that too, with the way that
oh,
water
fair.
weight.
Yeah.
So don't worry too much about the scale, and I tell clients this all the time. The scale doesn't tell the whole story, and you know this.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I don't, I just thought I'd hop on it because it was there. And I know I'd put on a bit of weight just because I wasn't really eating great. And my sister-in-law, God bless her, she'll say, "Oh, look, I brought you a cinnamon bun." And I'm like, "Oh." Then you keep looking at it. You're like, "Oh, well, one won't hurt me. I'll just have some ice cream." And
Yeah. John, I got one more question for you before I let you go, and it's actually I want your opinion. Now, you've actually lived and worked through 3 recessions now.
I
The
have.
You have, yes.
Okay.
I believe the first one was in the early '80s, the second one would be in the early '90s, and the third one was in 2008.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, so I was going to ask you how it affected you, but I guess I won't ask that. But
Yeah.
as someone who has lived and worked through 3 recessions, do you have any advice for, let's say, someone my age or a little bit younger, because I've worked through a recession as well, but what to expect and what to do right now because they're panicked? Let's say someone who's lost their job. Do you have any advice for someone like
Um,
that?
I've always been a wealthy barber type of person, so I've always had savings coming out my wing wang because I'm just a nervous person about that, right?
Yeah,
I've had a mortgage since I was 25, so I've had different views of savings and responsibilities.
yeah,
I would say if the government is offering certain programs, investigate that, sign up for that, see if you can get that 2,000 a month thing or the EI thing or whatever.
right, yes,
Um, I don't know because I'm in a position that I the thought of being in that position at any time in life would freak me out,
sure.
that I have to have that buffer. And that's just my, you know, phobia.
You've always prepared ahead just in case
Yeah.
something like this does happen.
Like, I mean, rule of thumb is you should have 3 months worth of basic bills covered
Mhm.
in savings at any time in your life.
I agree.
You know, I've got I've got my stocks and all that crap. And I was talking to my broker or whatever you call them. And
Financial
I,
planner. Yeah,
yeah.
Yeah.
wealth
Your
management
wealth
something.
management. Yes.
And I was talking to his assistant, who's a friend of mine, and I was like, I'm not really worried about it because I wasn't going to do anything with it till I was, you know, 70,
Right. Yeah.
which is a long time away.
No, you know what though?
I know,
I
I'm
mean,
kidding.
it's good advice to plan ahead. And someone's in a situation right now where like, well, I didn't plan ahead. Well, it's almost like you don't want to say shame on you, but this again could be another valuable lesson as okay, well, something like this or bigger could happen 5, 10, 15 years from now. So I do think as much bad has happened from COVID-19, I think there's some positives to take out of it. And one being like something like this could happen again. So plan accordingly.
Well,
You know?
yeah, I mean, if you're having a problem just basically every day, if you're having a problem meeting your expenses,
Yeah.
and this is another thing about the millennials too, right? They haven't been taught any of this shit.
He's not bashing millennials. He's just saying.
No,
No, no, no.
no, but I mean, I see it in some of these kids I work with or family members is that they get like my niece had got my dad's card when he passed away.
Right.
Are you kidding me? like, and good for her, but did she have savings? She's a different. I won't use her as an example. I say, but people who are living on their own, you have a basic rent, you've got a basic this, a basic that, and you have this much money coming in and this much money going out. You have to have a sense of a budget, a sense of that's the way it works in this society.
Sure.
And if I as a parent am not teaching these kids that because I'm too busy giving them, well, think of the shock for them to go into the work world and sorry, Mary, you're not number one, you're not number 19, just go clean the floor.
Exactly. Yeah.
And that's that I think you're right. In this situation, you're going to see a lot of corrections of certain habits, hopefully,
Yeah.
and prepared for the next time. You're going to see a lot of different changes when people
I
come out
think
of
so.
this.
I think
You
so.
know what's going to be interesting too is
Yeah.
when everything starts to ease up, you're going to have another correction in people wanting services in a huge amount.
Sure.
And how are people going to keep up with that? It's going to be another sort of thingamajig
Yeah, I
wave.
think this is going to definitely change the way that society responds, just in general. I mean, I was talking about that with my brother the other day about the cruise ship industry because he used to work in the cruise ship industry, and we both
Hmm.
agreed, thinking, the cruise ship industry is probably done for good. But again, maybe not. But I mean, who's
Oh,
going to want to
really?
go? Well, who's going to want to go on a cruise ship after all this? I mean, a lot of people are being detained on the cruise ships because of the COVID outbreak. So, I
I
mean,
don't think people are that smart in
yeah,
general.
it's hard to say, right? And we don't know yet. No one has a crystal ball, so nobody knows what's going to survive, what's not going to survive as far as business sectors are concerned. But some new businesses are going to come out of this as well.
Well, and it's also going to be how is it? Let's say they invent a needle thing that can correct it or give you help me out here. It's like a vaccine,
Oh
right?
yes, a vaccine. Yes, a
So
needle.
if you have a vaccine,
Yeah,
then you're good to go. Everything's fine. Well, then if the cruise ships are all putting on sales, I could guarantee you there's going to be a lot of people just going, I
yeah.
just got a $1,900 cruise for $650.
Okay, yeah,
So I don't know. I think it depends on how we come out of this.
yeah. And
How
I hope you're right about that because the travel industry in general, I mean, that's a huge, huge revenue for a lot of countries. Even like like Vancouver, we rely on our travel industry quite a bit here, right?
Of course, of course. I think it's just gonna. It's like I said before. I think it's kind of just nature's culling in a sense that it's just, as we were sort of spinning as a society faster and faster, it's just sort of said, "Whoa, let's just like even pollution's down." I think they were
Yes, I
saying
saw that.
dolphins are swimming in the Vienna,
Yeah,
that place on water.
we actually had whales in English Bay the other day, and people were photographed. Yeah, right in English Bay. So there's a lot more wildlife, and you're right, pollution is definitely easing up a little bit here. So maybe it was just a good time for a reset of mankind.
Yeah, and again, nature can trump all that, and
Yeah.
we think as mankind that we have the control, and we don't.
John, I love having all your insights. You're so wise in all your years of whatever age you really are. I don't
Oh, well,
believe
I
it's
can't.
really,
How come I had to tell mine? You didn't tell yours.
I don't even know my age anymore.
I'm thinking early
Plus,
40s.
plus I'm the host, so I'm actually interviewing you. You're not interviewing me, so that could be for another
Okay.
day. But I am gonna definitely have you on again, and I'm hoping to have you on with a few other people because there's some topics that I want to debate with you guys.
That'd be fun.
Yeah, and we can save that for a later date. But because I have a
Do I have to
feeling you and
learn
I,
anything new about that? Like,
you probably will. Yeah, I'll send you a tutorial though. So,
okay.
John, thank you so much for coming on.
My
And
pleasure.
I really always look forward to talking to you. And I'm
Okay.
probably going to be talking to you again very soon because you and I are going to be in lockdown for at least a few more weeks, if not months.
Oh, they're saying July now.
Yes, I've heard that. Yeah. So, I mean, it is what it is. We got to make the most
Could
of
I
it.
get you to go over to my place and water my plants?
We'll see. Depends how much you pay.
Oh dear, they're gonna die.
John, thank you so much for coming on.
Okay,
And
Nick,
enjoy the
anytime.
rest of your day, and I'll talk to you again. Thanks,
Okay,
John.
bye.